Brad Wall himself has acknowledged that he and his new government began with some pretty good fortune. Just 2 weeks after his landslide election victory, he strode onto the field where the Saskatchewan Roughriders won only their third Grey Cup in history. He also came to power at a time of soaring oil prices and a booming potash industry. Wall's message was that Saskatchewan was open for business, and the timing really couldn't have been better.
At the time, we took over with the worst job creation record in the country. And through these last 10 years, notwithstanding the challenges of recent years, but for this last 10 years, we can point to the second best job creation record in the country.
For years, Saskatchewan hovered around 1 million people. The Saskatchewan Party campaigned on growing the province of Saskatchewan by 100,000 people in a decade, which was met with some scorn at the time. It turned out they underestimated.
We're closing in on 1.2 million people. And for many people in Saskatchewan just 10 years ago, that would have seemed impossible. And some said so publicly when we articulated population goals.
Wall says despite the successes, he's made some mistakes, too. For example, he acknowledges his government shouldn't have made those recent library cuts. And he acknowledges this year's budget was full of tough decisions. He says he wished he wasn't going out on a deficit budget, but his government does have a plan to eventually dig out before the next election. However, Wall won't be around for that.
I think this is the right time for me to step aside. I do think the government will benefit and the province will benefit with a new voice and a new style, maybe some new energy.
Wall has really been known for his energy and his sense of humor, his speech-making ability, and his powerful presence on the international stage as Saskatchewan's salesman-in-chief. But he says for his party to win the next election, someone else needs to step up.
I think it's important to give the next person lots of time to identify, to become known by Saskatchewan people. The next premier, that woman or man, will need, I think, that time. I've been premier for a long time, and for good or for ill, that's the face of the party for many folks in the government.